that, they think that means Jesus didn't baptize.
Right.
No, Hebrew was backward from English.
Now we are going to show what else this false apostle have copied and stole from Johnson. 100% plagiarism.
Well, tonight, we're not going to go by hearsay. We're going to go by the writings of these men themselves. We're going to read their books. I have a book here written. I'm going to ask the camera to zoom in. I have a book here written. The first one is written by Bishop S.C. Johnson. The name of this book, the title of this book, Is Jesus Christ the Son of God Now? By Bishop S.C. Johnson. Is Jesus Christ the Son of God Now? By Bishop S.C. Johnson. I have another one here. Title of it, The Mystery of the Godhead, written by Pastor Gino Jennings. The Mystery of the Godhead, written by Pastor Gino Jennings. So now look here. We're not going to make up anything. We're going to show you what's written in these men's books. S.C. Johnson's book is Jesus Christ, the Son of God Now. Pastor Jennings' book, The Mystery of the Godhead. Now, for you that may not know who Bishop S.C. Johnson was, Bishop Johnson was an apostolic faith preacher, very well known back in the 50s, early 60s. The man preached a lot of truth. I give credit where it's due. He preached a lot of truth. So many idolized this man across the nation. Your apostolic faith preachers, they imitated him. They idolized him. They exalted him. They studied Johnson, my God, man, to a T. And they come out, want to be like S.C. Johnson. Pastor Jennings is no different. He studied Johnson. He studied Johnson. He wanted to be like Johnson. Trying to talk like Johnson. Some say, well, he got Johnson's spirit. Well, he studied Johnson, no doubt. He probably do have his spirit. Now we're going to read some of Johnson's writings. And we're going to read some of Jennings' writings. Now I want you to understand, you will find out clearly, you'll be able to see clearly that as I say how they idolized Johnson, you're going to see how Jennings' book that he wrote, he patterned it, he copied right from Johnson's book. It's going to be clearly seen. They idolized this man. Now listen to Johnson's book, page 3, first paragraph. Now listen to this. Johnson writes, page 3, S.C. Johnson book, top paragraph, he writes, in Matthew 27:54 we read, truly this was the Son of God. Jennings, page 26, last paragraph, in his book he writes, the Bible said, truly this was the Son of God. Matthew 27:54. Anything that was, had been, or is past tense. But let's get the other writings just to show you Jennings copied his book behind Johnson. This is who they idolized right here. And Jennings was no different. Page 3, Johnson's book, middle paragraph, he writes, I contend that there never was a son in heaven. The Son didn't go to heaven. Neither did he come from heaven. The Son of God did not rise from the dead. The sonship started in the womb of Mary and ended on the cross. Jennings' book, page 26, middle paragraph. Gino writes, there never was no Son of God in heaven. No Son of God came from heaven. No Son of God went to the grave. No Son of God went back to heaven. And there's no Son of God coming for the church at the end. Johnson's book, page 24. Better yet, page 4. Johnson's book, page 4. Top paragraph. Johnson writes, the eternal spirit which filled that body, filled heaven, filled hell, and filled every place. He was the father of the body. that he was in. This makes my statement true. The body did not start in heaven. The sonship did not start in heaven. But it started in the womb of Mary and ended on the cross. Sonship, he's saying, started in the womb of Mary and ended on the cross. For when he died, he said, it's finished. It's finished. But let me show you Jennings' book. He writes the same thing. Just showing you now, he copied Johnson's book. Page 26, Jennings' book, middle paragraph. Jennings writes, when God took on flesh and blood, he became a son. Before then, he had no son. When he shed blood, that ended the son. Because he himself said, it's finished. I mean, anybody can see where Jennings got his information from. Straight from this right here. They idolize this man, and therefore they have just like this man. If they had studied Jesus the way they studied Johnson, their doctrine would be correct. But they studied the wrong man. Page 4, middle paragraph, Johnson writes, all those that believe he is the Son of God now put him in a very ignorant position. Jennings writes, page 27, top paragraph, if Jesus Christ is the Son of God now, that will put him in an ignorant position. The same thing. You copying another man's book and want to say you got it from God.
That's right. I didn't sit and listen to Johnson tapes to learn the doctrine of the apostles. I'm God made. God anointed. God taught.
He is a bona fide thief.
That's right.
Here is something very important that a lot of y'all don't know about. This is the book, The Mystery of the God, by yours truly, Pastor Jennings. Pastor Jennings wrote this book back in Frankfurt Avenue, back in the day, talking about God gave him the revelation of the Godhead, right? Now, we understand that he was not the first. And if you don't, let me remind you, Bishop Johnson came out and had a revelation from God stating there was no Son of God in heaven, right? That was from Bishop S.C. Johnson, not Gino. In this portion of the highlighted parts, it says, there never was no Son of God in heaven. No Son of God came from heaven. No Son of God went to the grave. No Son of God went back to heaven. And there is no Son of God coming for the church at the end. You know who said that? Let me pull it up for you.
Now he preached that there is a Son of God in heaven now. Now. And I said there is no Son of God in heaven now. And never was no Son of God in heaven. No Son of God didn't come from heaven. No Son of God went to heaven. No Son of God was buried. And no Son of God didn't rise. Now I'm ready to stand behind that and prove to every listener that what I say is the truth.